Talk to us a little bit about your platform and what you'd like to see happen on campus.
All right, our platform is relatively new kind of platform that hasn't really been introduced in previous SGA campaigns. A lot of SGA platforms in the past have talked about vague points and common concerns that students face year after year, but they don't ever really propose any real solutions. By and large, it's the same platform that people use year after year. My platform is different because it really narrows down specific student concerns and really addresses them in seven key points. And all throughout my platform, whether it's improving diversity, whether it's making sure that our SGA has a solid background in leadership, whether it's fixing parking or improving university pride, there are actual tangible solutions featured in my platform.
Okay. A lot of students are concerned about the budget, and tuition keeps going up every year. What would you tell incoming students?
That's a great question. The budget is obviously the big issue right now. Unfortunately, because of the way that our state financing works, we don't have an income tax, we have a sales tax. When the economy sees a reduction, we see a reduction in tax revenue. For some reason, in the state of Tennessee, there isn't a lot of priority placed on higher education. There's almost a suspicion among most of the population of Tennessee when it comes to higher education. So the first thing that people always want to do when the economy turns down is to slash the education budget. And when the education budget is slashed, then the first thing that state officials propose to do is to raise the tuition. I was a staunch opponent last year of the tuition cap removal. I'll continue to staunchly oppose any further measures like that. Right now, the key role for the SGA to play is to really work in conjunction with the administration, with Dr. Stanton, with Dr. David Collins, who's the Chief Financial Officer of the university, really to work with them to really maximize what we have. I'm not going to lie to you, we're in tough times right now, but we still have a lot at our disposal. And I think the key for the next SGA administration is not to constantly talk about what we can't do, but what we can do in spite of our limitations.
Okay. When talking to students and stuff around campus, what do you think are some big issues right now that would be of concern to students?
I hear a lot of issues. I've been talking to several groups in the past few days, several students, and of course parking is always brought up. Mm-hmm. Parking has historically been a problem. Students always bring that up, but I don't think it's the most pressing issue right now. One of my big issues that I really want to work on is improving our academic reputation here at the university. Our minimum GPA for acceptance is a 1.9, and I think that's unacceptable. I think it makes the university, doesn't portray it in the best light, and it doesn't really recruit the kind of students that I believe that East Tennessee State University should recruit. We have to evaluate, what kind of regional university we want to be, and I think that what's really going to make us shine is our commitment to academic excellence. We should and we can be an academic powerhouse. The third thing, obviously, the budget. A lot of students are really concerned about tuition increases. For a lot of students, particularly in the region in East Tennessee, an increase of $300–400 at a minimum, but upwards of $1,000, while to some students may not seem a lot, but for a lot of students here at ETSU, that's the difference between dropping out and remaining in college next semester. So those are probably the big three issues.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
I think a big issue right now is that a lot of students don't really know what the SGA does or who the SGA is. When I've been talking to different students, they always ask me, well, who's the current SGA president? I think Brian's done an incredible job this year, but I think that one focus of the next SGA administration, what it needs to be, is to really reach out and get our name out there and to make students realize that we are actually doing something, we're actually working for them.
Right. And how would you go about doing something like that?
One thing, I would continue to visit different campus groups. I think in SGA campaigns past, everyone visits campus groups and talks to students hot and heavy during campaign week. Then when they're elected and inaugurated, it kind of stops. There is no more outreach. One thing that I plan to do is to continue visiting student groups and reaching out to students. I've already done this. I'm currently the Interfraternity Council President, and one of my campaign promises when I was running for that position was that I would expand the focus of Greek life and really reach out to students who may have had negative stereotypes of Greek life or didn't really know what we do today. And since taking office, I visited 5 or 6 organizations that typically have had very little interaction with Greek life.
Okay. And do you think that you got a pretty positive reaction from that?
I did, particularly in the instance of Greek life. You know, there were students who voiced their concerns about, you know, obvious stereotypes of, you know, partying, drinking. I did hear that, but I also heard a lot of students, a lot of positive feedback about what the Greek community does. And I think that I can incorporate that into the SGA if I am SGA president, to really go around and share with people what the SGA does. I mean, everyone knows that we do concerts, but not a lot of people know about the legislation that we pass or the campus programs that we sponsor. So we have a lot of stuff that we do. We have a lot of great things that we put on, but the goal for next year is really to make students aware of what we do.
All right. So tell me a little bit about your platform.
Okay, in addition to the rest of my tickets platform, my personal platform for the VP, while I've served as vice president this past year, you know, it's allowed me to kind of see like what my job requires and kind of allowed me to see like what would be some improvements that would be needed in it. The 2 main things that I see that the vice president can do is, of course, student interaction. That's big with everybody. I feel that the students don't know exactly what we do. A lot of them think that all we do is homecoming and the concerts. And, you know, they don't know the legislation that we pass each week and how it affects them. They just don't realize it in the end. So a big thing on that is, of course, going to student organizations, talking to them, you know, try to, like on a monthly basis, try to get with them and see like what their concerns are, because that's what we're here for. We are here to represent the students. Another way of that would be to just kind of like, I guess, before every class time, I think it would be great if a senator could just go to a classroom and say, you know, hey, I'm a senator for SGA, and, you know, if any concerns you guys have, feel free to come to me and tell me about them. Another thing that I think the vice president should kind of work on is our buck fund process. And in SGA, we are responsible for allocating money to student organizations. And I have actually served on the buck fund committee as a senator, and then this year as vice president, I am our co-chair of that. And a lot of the students, when it's a very like vigorous kind of application process, and I think that something that needs to be improved is maybe having a workshop before each buck fund session so that the students can see, you know, how exactly the process goes, the applications, how to fill those out, and then exactly what to expect in their meeting that they're going to have. And as far as that, like, that's the main 2 things I think the vice president should really focus on in that coming year.
Awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just that, you know, I think that it is important to realize, you know, that I do have the experience as our current vice president, and I think that's given me, you know, some great insight on how to improve in the previous, in the future year. And I think that, you know, this job does require you to come into it and kind of learn it at a fast pace. And I think over the year that, you know, I have learned what this job takes, and next year, instead of kind of learning how it's gonna work, I will actually, you know, I can go ahead and start making improvements as soon as possible.
Okay.